G'day guys, today we're in Gunnedah, northern New South Wales. We're going to take you through today a Pari S race. There's two main work areas with all of our designs, or the work area stays the same or similar. What we've got here is the S race. We're going to take you through, show you how that works. These yards were installed roughly 5 years ago. Good to see the hot dip galvanising Australian steel holding up well. No rust that I've noticed today, but come for a walk. So the cattle flow down from behind you, and those pens and outer yards may vary depending on the exact design. Once they get to this point here, you shut this gate. Then we enter into the S race work area through this main gate. Once we're into the work area here, the cattle and the operators are then separate for the rest of the process. So the design is such that you can control the cattle from being in the work area where there's no cattle. So this pen here, you generally keep a couple of racefuls ready to go. Once your race was empty, they'd be moved through into the rotating C-force, which is controlled here by this handle. And if you've got cattle that need to be pushed around through to your race, if they're not flowing, that works like all of our C-forces can be moved around latches every 200 mil, so the cattle can't push it back. One bit of feedback I've had with a lot of S-race designs is because of the natural flow of cattle and the design of the S-race, is these couple of gates here are actually very rarely used. The operator simply loads his cattle into there, moves alongside on the outside on the catwalk here, and the cattle flow off them and go around the race really well. So what we've got here is a half-height main gate going off your catwalk down into this pen. So when you do need to come down into this pen, if you're trying to exit the yards or when you're loading cattle, down here and then exit out through another one of the main gates here. This here, you stay on concrete the whole way around to your loading ramp and then straight up the stairs, which we'll touch on further shortly. When you are loading cattle out, you've got enough room in your C-force here and your race to have a deck of cattle. So you would put your cattle in there, close this C-force off, then go down through here, pass out the back there, so again the operator's not in with cattle while you're loading that truck. Once that deck's loaded and gate's shut, you can open the gate there behind you and the next one comes through, so on and so forth. We'll go around now and talk about the race. Once we get to this point here, we've got one of our sliding gates. Your cattle have obviously flowed up into the race, can be closed off. With these bigger S race work areas are suited to bigger operations, and therefore you'd often have 2 or more operators in the yards. What we find works well is sort of one operator controls from here back, and then the operator, which if you've got this system which works well with the auto technology in our crushers, the operator can be here and look after the race and crush and drafting forward. This S race here, guys, is 6 sections. So through talking to you and working out your design, we can change that, make it longer, make it tighter, depending on maybe your existing back pens or the design you're wanting to go with. So you'd fit probably 7-8 cows up this race, and then obviously smaller stock, you'd fit a few more. This particular client hasn't gone with any of our race options, so what you see here is just a standard race. You've got the 6 rail on the outside, 5 rail on the inside. We can, if you're interested, we've got a calf reducing system. We've also got drop top panels on the inside rail here. Meaning you can, if there's some flighty cattle coming through, maybe for the first time, you can open this up, lift this up, sorry, and then you got 6 rail both inside and outside. The way we do it like this, and the reason we do that as standard, works well for any husbandry work up your race. There's no rails here to bash yourself on. And then the outside, if the stock are a bit flighty trying to get away from you, they're going to be wanting to go that way, but that's nice and high, keeping them inside your race. So this is the diverter gate here, which leads out to the loading ramp. Like we're just touching on loading cattle there. This is how you'd have the race set up for when the stock flow around and up your ramp. Then if you're wanting to obviously divert them to your crush, you'd have it positioned like that. Having this in your race and the ramp coming off your race means you can maintain 3-way draft or more off the front of your crush. What we see a lot in old sets of yards is the ramp straight in front of your crush, which means immediately you've lost the draft option out of your crush. So now we're getting around to our crush. This client's gone with an auto crush. Depending on your operation and what you want to do, that can be 3 or 5-way drafting, manual or auto. So then you got, behind me here, you got the draft pens, which would vary depending on your situation and whether you got existing infrastructure. So that's an overview of the S-Race design. We'd love to see how we can incorporate this into your yards. Speak soon.